Good evening, everyone. I'm back with another exciting featured author live with you all. As you all already know, that featured author of the month is Savie Karnel, and you must be wondering why are we doing this in the middle of the month instead of the end of the month? Yes, usually we do follow. Like doing it always at the end after we have done everything else related to it. But our author today, due to some commitments, we had to kind of do it in the middle, and we thought, yes, let's try out this as well. So I'm sure you all are looking forward to this conversation. This is her book. Before I get her on the stream, I thought I'll just show you all that this is the book that she has written, which I really loved. I truly want to tell her how much moved I was after reading it. I read it recently, and I truly, as a mentor and as a parent, recommend it to all of you. Please trust me, buy it for your children. It will give them such a beautiful perspective, and I think it is so much more relevant even today. So yes, I think now to hear more about the book and what went behind it, let me get Savie on stream. Hi Savie, welcome to Beyond the Box.
Hi Anupama, thank you. Thanks a lot for having me here on Beyond the Books, and thank you for tweaking the format for me. And first of all, I wish you all a very happy New Year, happy Ugadi, Baisakhi, Bihu,
Yes,
and wish
thank
you all
you.
a
Yes.
prosperous year ahead.
Right. I think we are doing this on such an auspicious occasion, coincidentally. So, yeah, I guess. Yes, as Savie said, wishing all of you a very happy new year and hoping for better times ahead. I think we truly need it today. So, let me introduce Savie for all of you. Savie Karnel grew up in the coastal town of Karwar on a diet of fish, mangoes, and books. That's a very interesting combination. When she was about 11, she decided to become a writer. On growing up, she worked as a journalist for the New Indian Express, Midday, and Talk magazine in Bangalore. She now keeps traveling all over the country collecting stories. She wrote parts of Nameless God in Pune and most parts amidst the mountains in Dharamshala. I must say, I've visited Dharamshala, and the moment I read that in your bio, I felt that wow, that's truly such a perfect place to write a book.
It is a beautiful place, no doubt.
Right. Right. Yes, Ivan, our audience has started joining us. So here's Sandhya. Thank you so much, Sandhya, for joining.
Hi, I thank you, Sandhya, for joining.
Yeah. Okay, interestingly, Savi, I read in your bio that at 11 itself you wanted to be a writer. I want to start by asking you that what was it that really triggered that thought in your head at that age? Was it just the fact that maybe you were reading books and that itself inspired you, or was it something else? If you could just tell us a little bit about how that happened, not in a professional sense, but yeah, why that thought came in your mind in the first place.
Well, I was always in love with books. I guess I started reading quite early,
Okay.
around maybe 5 or 6. I was around 6, I guess. I was 6. I was reading books, and they were my constant companions. And I was forever buried into books. And the writers whom I read, I mean, they all inspired me. Somehow, when you keep reading, you want to be the writers you read. You want to become like them. And
Absolutely.
but like most children, I didn't think of being a writer because that seems something which is impossible or something far-fetched to me. But around when I was in 11, the town which I grew up in, Karwar, it's a beautiful coastal town that
Mm-hmm.
was being promoted as a tourist destination. And
Okay.
that's when the promotion started saying that Rabindranath Tagore wrote his first play, Prakriti Pratishod, on the same beaches. And somehow I
Oh,
felt that if, on the same beach he could write his first play, why not me?
right.
Maybe, though I'm nowhere close to him, somehow as a child, it felt that this dream is achievable. And then, we used to write these slam books, autograph books we used to call them, where we wrote our name and favorite actor, actresses,
Right.
and your ambition. And slowly that ambition changed to writer. That's when I noticed that I want to be a writer, because I started replying as what do you want to become when you grow up? A writer.
Oh,
So I guess
right.
that's how all that started then.
Lovely, and that's
Yeah.
such an interesting story. The reason behind it. So, of course,
Yeah.
that was how it happened as a child. Like, how that thought came in your head. But now, tell me that. Of course, after you grew up, you did work in the Times, in the New Indian Express, and other such coveted companies. So, what made you feel that okay, now I should write a book? Was the story of the Nameless God already, like, sometimes some stories linger in our mind? So, was that the case? Like, was that story there on your mind, and that's how you kind of decided one day that okay, now I should write a book?
No, I mean, decided to write a book so long ago. I
Okay,
always
yeah,
wanted to write a book.
right,
Yeah, and then, I mean, though we think being a journalist you can write, because being a reporter is a hectic job. I
of
couldn't
course, of
actually
course.
write fiction then, but later on I did write. I would write. I wrote another book which wasn't well, I mean, which hasn't been published yet. I couldn't find a publisher my
Oh,
first book.
okay.
And after a while, around 2015, somehow I began noticing changes uh, around in the society,
Right, right,
and I mean, wherein I could see divisions being formed, communal divisions, and
right.
children also talking about it. And that was also the time my son was born,
Okay,
and somehow I felt that how would I tell my children or other children about the way we have been living, the way we have been living harmoniously without, I mean, despite our differences. So I thought of writing a story of friendship between children of two different communities.
right, right,
And since the Babri Masjid demolition was quite fresh in my mind, 92s, in the 90s, I was also a child.
right,
So I
right,
had
right.
my memories of a child, of what I had seen then. So that's why I took these two together and thought of this story. But then again, it was difficult to come up. And as then I suddenly one day I was thinking hard and I came up with this thing of them creating a new god. And I realized that I did something similar when I was a child. See, I grew up in a small town where there were no restrictions. I ran around in the fields, played in the mud, had friends
Right,
from all
right.
stratas. So I remember us creating a god of sticks, not with stone, of a stick, and keeping and offering flowers every day, coming and praying all the our kids together, using some rags and building a thatched hut-like thing. And then finally, someday, someone destroyed it because some elders didn't like it.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah, so I
That's
used that concept in the book, and then I
yes.
built up the story.
Yeah, yeah. I've read it, so I could link it, to what you were saying. Uh, I want to now ask you something because when I was reading the book as a reader, I really was intrigued by how you gave us a complete insight into the minds of both the key characters. So the narrative kind of switches, right? Like, so we get a perspective of
Yeah.
both of them, and the very fact that this is we have kids as the protagonists, I just felt that um, there was such a wonderful balance of both innocence as well as the topic being so poignant, that there's so much, it's profound in so many ways, a lot of things conveyed in the story. Obviously I don't want to reveal spoilers, which is why I'm not getting into like specific details, but there are multiple places where things hit you, yet because it is kids there is this innocence even till the end also, like in terms of how, and so beautifully that concept of who God is, or what God really is. I think the way that whole journey has been conveyed by you, I think that's truly commendable. So first of all, I just want to compliment you on that, because I really really was moved, impressed, and I immediately told my daughter also that even though you cannot read this book by yourself, I'm definitely going to read it to you, because I think this is a great way to convey, like you said, right? I mean, your own reason of writing a book on this topic. I feel that as a parent also, it really helps to tell our kids such stories of bonding and friendship. So now I want to know from you that, uh, like, so from the beginning, you were very clear that you wanted child protagonists, and you wanted to show the friendship of children. Like, was that something you were very clear about?
Yes, I was clear about. I wanted to write a children's book. And
Okay.
thank you,
So you were.
Anupama, for such kind words. But yeah, I was very clear about having a children's book. I wanted the story to speak to the children, and I really
Mhm.
wanted it to be in a children's voice. I think a child's perspective makes the thing less complicated.
Yeah,
And I guess and that was also the very difficult part while writing. Simplifying the issues was very difficult too.
yeah,
And
I'm
I very
sure, of course. Yeah,
yeah, and I very consciously kept two perspectives. I switched the voices
yeah,
in
yeah.
alternate chapters because I wanted to give the perspectives of both the children who come from different communities and different families, because every issue has more than one
Yes,
perspective.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Wonderful
And
idea, I
everyone,
think it was.
yes,
Yeah,
and everyone thinks that their perspective is right.
yeah,
So and that's why I was also wanted to bring these two aspects into the book, wherein through this I also tell the children that we need that there could be different ideas, there could be different views, and all that has to be respected as well.
right, 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 absolutely. And so, when you were ready with the manuscript, were you really having some doubts about the acceptance, and how easy was it to actually get it published? If you could just share about that part of it, because especially, I think stories like these, though they're so beautiful, we know the world that we are in today, right? The way we are polarized, and uh, I mean, so it's I'm sure it's a challenge there to kind of, especially because it's for children. So yeah, what was that experience like?
Like if I start for me as a writer, it took me 10 years to get published, and for this book, it took me about 5 years
Oh my god!
from the time I wrote the first manuscript.
Wow.
Yeah, so I sent it to beginning in the beginning. I would tell you I sent it to a couple of publishers,
Hmm.
and some rejected, and some I think they just don't reply. And then yeah, and then I gave up on it.
Okay.
See, I just gave up on this book, and I gave up on writing. I just said, okay, this is not happening. Maybe I'm not supposed to be. Maybe I'm not meant to be published. So I just left it. And then my child was also growing up, so I got busy with that. And last year, uh, and these the manuscripts were lying. And the last year, what happened was I had an accident. I slipped from
Oh.
the stairs, fell, and I hurt my head.
Oh my
So
god.
and in the middle of the night, and when you hit a bed, it's just blank. There's no pain, nothing. And then I realized after a while, when people around me and my husband was all, worried. I was like, why is he worried? It's just a fall. Because I couldn't see that I was bleeding profusely. And then when I saw the blood down, the first thought that came across to my mind was, what if I never get published? Do I really want that to never be published?
Oh my god.
And then in last Feb, there were the Delhi riots as well. So they
Hmm.
tell,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
some yeah,
Yes.
and somehow I felt that now this story has to be told. At least from my end, I have to make an attempt to take the story, out. And so I just randomly took all the email IDs I could find on the internet of all the publishers, and I sent it across to everyone. And luckily last year it was a holy day, and I mean on the day of Holi, festival of Holi, I came back. I generally don't see the phone when you're all with colors, but somehow I felt that I should check my email. I checked my email, and there was a mail from 3 days ago from Vidhi Bhargav from Red Panda
Yeah.
West
Yeah.
End Books, showing her interest in acquiring the book.
Lovely.
So yeah, and that was kind of a miracle for me. And that's where from then on, we spoke, and Vidhi and I worked together and built up more on the story. The first initial thing was not so exhaustive. I mean, it was much smaller. Built up more on the story, and then from last March, April, it took about a year for the book to come out and hit the stores.
Wonderful. That is so inspiring, Savi. Truly, I'm sure all the community members of BTB and everybody else who's joined today and who are watching, I think we all can take so much of inspiration from Savi's story. I truly, and I'm so glad this happened because, we got this, which is a gem, truly. I think, yeah. Yeah. So this is the book, guys. Do check it out. And I must share a few comments which are coming for you, Savi, because they're like really lovely. So Pooja says, lovely book written by you.
Thank you, Pooja.
And Sandhya says, yes, the process was extraordinary. It's a difficult balance to achieve.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thanks a lot. I will tell you, Sandhya, I met her once at a writing workshop, and Sandhya was always encouraging, always
Yes.
encouraging, always supportive. And she's a
She
wonderful
is
person.
very encouraging. I completely agree because even my own journey as a writer, I've worked with her so many times, and I think today I always keep telling her, a lot of my accolades. I think you definitely have a hand in that because she's extremely helpful. Okay, and Sangeeta says, really wonderful listening to you and your thoughts.
Thank you, Sangeeta.
And Sheena says something really lovely that where there's a will, there's a way, and look what you gave the world. Absolutely.
Thank you, Sheena. Thanks a lot for such kind words.
Nice. So there are many more comments. Unfortunately, I'm sorry because of the lack of time. I'm not able to take up all, but
And
everybody else, yeah, please keep commenting. I'm sure Savvy will check all the comments out after the live.
yes,
I mean, all
thank
on
you,
my
Anand.
video.
And
So
I'm going to read all the comments and try to reply to
yes,
all of them.
absolutely. Yes, definitely. Okay, so now I want to ask you something about the characters and your process of creating them. So I felt that both the characters in the book, Noor as well as Bachchu, they, the kids, I mean, they're so well edged. Like from the first sentence, I was totally in their world, and I could really imagine the kind of kids they are, what's going on in their mind, the setting of where they live, everything. So it just came alive for me, and there was a very strong connect with these characters. Now, considering that they are kids, and it's been quite a while, we all have been kids. So, how did you really get that? Essence of the character of those kids bang on, because I think they are exactly the way you would probably imagine kids like them to be. So can you please share a little bit about that process of creating these characters? Did you draw from people maybe in real life, like maybe your own child or the other children you might have met recently?
Well, the characters as such, I would say that, um, maybe the child in me never grew up.
Lovely.
I actually looked inwards. I looked
Oh,
inwards, and I have a pretty good memory. So I looked
nice.
inwards, and they were more drawn from, my childhood and maybe my friends, because my kid is pretty young. He'll turn 7. So I
Okay.
couldn't draw 5 years ago from him. And yeah, it was mostly from thinking inwards from my childhood. And maybe sometime I could see maybe the kids around playing around perhaps, but
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't go consciously to study kids or
Okay, okay.
nothing of that sort. It was more of thinking inwards and remembering
Right.
my childhood days.
Wonderful. Nice.
Yeah.
That's really amazing because that truly reflected, I think, in the characters. Because I interact so much with children as a part of Beyond the Box, like, day in, day out. I'm always talking to children. And that's why I really felt that, my God, like such wonderful child characters we don't come across so often the way they talk and the little things they think, it's all just so perfect. Like, yes, that's how probably kids would think. How it begins with them wanting a holiday. That itself was so like accurate,
I
because
know we have all done that, haven't we?
yeah, yeah, true. So there's a comment from Sameer, which I completely agree with. He says that the world needs this kind of literature, subtle, humorous, and yes, there's wisdom in it for sure.
Thank you, Samir.
I completely agree. I think in today's times, this is so relevant. Like, I think this book should be read by everybody, to be very honest. So, yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Savi, for giving us this book.
And thank you, Anupam. I'm so glad you like the book, and I hope
Yeah,
more kids enjoy and connect to the story. But I've
yeah,
heard from parents, yeah. Because I was a bit skeptical whether kids of today will they be able to relate to a story of the 90s. But surprisingly, children are enjoying it,
yeah.
and
I'm sure they
yeah,
will. Yeah.
and the other comment I've got is from parents, where it is this book has kind of started a conversation between the parent and the child. So the
Mhm.
child is beginning to ask the parent about the parent's childhood, like, did you really have just one TV channel?
Yeah.
And those kind of questions. And
Yeah, I'm sure those will come up from my daughter too when I read it out to her.
hopefully, yeah. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So Sandhya also says something very important, how you've conveyed in the book that the way misconceptions spread, get a life of their own, and play into the hands of miscreants. I think yes, that's also very I think that's what I said, that a lot of things are portrayed in such a like. I mean, there is no like in your face in your storytelling. Basically, it's because like it's just happening, and yeah, these things hit you. You just
Right,
infer
they
them
do.
from storytelling.
Very true, very true. But thank you, Sandhya. Yeah, and I did it very consciously because these days misconceptions spread faster than what's depicted
Exactly.
in the story. Because at least then we didn't have social media, we didn't have mobile phones, but now the kids have access to them, and propaganda
Exactly.
can be easily spread to kids.
Very easy. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's true.
so that's why I tried to touch on this aspect as well.
Right. Right. No, no, that makes complete sense. And Pooja says that her daughter and her friends are enjoying the book.
Thank you. I hope they enjoy and they hope they fall in love with the characters and hope they find friendship like Noor, like the way Noor and Bachu have. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. So, so did you improvise, like, kind of revisit the manuscript? Because you mentioned that actually this was like 5 years back you came up with this. So over the years, it sometimes happens, right? Like we kind of feel maybe something is not working, or maybe I should change something. So tell us, like, did you really revisit the manuscript? Like, I mean, especially before reaching out to publishers again, like, did you try to kind of change it according to maybe the current times? Or was it like
No,
largely how you would written it?
no. I mean I didn't re. I had written the first draft 5 years ago, and I didn't
Mhm.
revisit it. I just sent
Okay,
it across to publishers,
okay, okay.
and after when Vidhi contacted me, Vidhi and I discussed over the phone, and and after that I did flesh out more of the story. Yeah, there
Okay,
were
okay.
changes after the publisher
Acha.
accepted it.
Okay, okay. Nice, nice,
Right,
nice.
yeah.
So, what is the kind of feedback you've been receiving, Savvy? I am curious to know that because this book, obviously, if like according to my research, I think the reception has been good so far. So, any just share some maybe high points, like maybe some particular feedback if it touched you, or any of like say maybe somebody's review. So, yeah, I am curious to know a little more about that.
Yeah, there were many good reviews and good feedback that I have received. Most of the reviews is so difficult to choose, but I
I'm
would
sure.
say, yeah, but I would say the reviews that I've got from children, they are kind of very special because a child it takes a lot of effort for a child to read and then go back and post a review.
I
So
agree. Yes.
yeah, I'm really touched by the reviews that I've got from 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Most of them they went took the effort to go on Amazon and post them, which was lovely, I tell you. So yeah, and they did enjoy the book. And among the first reviews, a senior journalist Aladi Jayashree, I mean, she posted the first review. So that will
Okay.
always I'll remain. And so she compared the book to Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan, which I would say I'm nowhere close, but that was a huge compliment and that gave a huge boost to my morale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
And
course.
recent, yeah, and one more I would like to mention this the young reader called Sahana. She, I think, she got the book from Kolkata, and she read, and she somehow, she reached out to me on Instagram, She
Oh
sent a
my
message
God.
to me on, yeah, on Instagram, saying that she loved the book and that this book is going to be one of her prized possessions. So that will forever be a, a part of my cherished memories, because for me it's the first time that someone's taken an effort to look out for me on the internet and just to appreciate my work. So that was quite a kind of touching, and she's a 10th standard student. So this gesture, well, I mean, I'll always remember this gesture from Sahana.
Yeah, that's indeed very special. I can understand that, getting that kind of direct feedback from the kids, I'm
Yeah.
sure it must be very special for you. And in fact, just to let the audience also know that because Savie is the featured author of this month, so even one of the BTB kids is already writing the review of a book. She's done reading it and we'll be publishing
Oh,
it soon on
wonderful.
the website as well. So yes, do check out that review and the book too. So yeah, you'll be getting one more review from a child.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice, nice. Okay. Savvy, now there are a lot of, so at Beyond the Box, of course, like we have a lot of kids and even many writers who are new to writing and they want to learn, they want to grow as writers. So you are somebody who though I must say this is your first book, but you, as a writer, I think you've done such a wonderful job. You've written so well. So I think definitely
Thank you.
you can share some, not necessarily tips, but anything from your own experience, which you think might help kids as well as, the newer writers. What do you think that, maybe they can do to work on their craft?
The main thing I feel is the story and the characters. Many times, what I've seen about in writers is most often we try to imitate someone who like.
Yeah,
So
yes,
yeah, I would suggest that to just keep it original, because each of us has a different experience. Each
yes,
of us has a different perspective. So
absolutely.
I guess keeping original will make your book stand out. And plus, as for stories, I would say stories are everywhere. They are all around us. All we have to do is, open our eyes and look for them.
Yeah.
So we can look around and maybe we can get a lot of story ideas. So I think that's, I guess, once you get a story idea, that's the first step. And then you build on the characters. And I guess building on the characters also can be done by looking around, by the people in our lives, the people we meet. I know most people, most often it's the writer who gets the credit, but I would say a book is a product not just of the writer, but of all the people that the writer knows or met or befriend, even for a few seconds, maybe. Is the experience altogether that makes a writer. So I would just suggest and tell kids to keep their ear to the ground, look around for stories, and the most important thing is never ever disrespect anyone, because we have a lot to learn from every person that we meet, every person that we know, every person that we encounter, and each person has a lot to teach us. So I guess most often when we disrespect someone, we lose out on a lot of learning.
Yes.
So I think that's a few tips that I can give. Yeah, the rest of the tips, I guess, a person who wants to be writer may already know. The thing of sticking to your time, making
Yeah.
time, sticking. Yeah. And I find a hard time to follow it. So being disciplined. So all that, I guess, the move they already know that these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think
No,
what
I
you,
think what you
I, one second, is there some echo? I don't know why I hear an echo. I guess yeah, now it's okay, I think. Yeah. So I was saying that, yeah, those were great tips and some very important points mentioned. Especially, I love that you spoke about not disrespecting, because even I truly believe that we can learn from every person we come across. So, kids who were watching and even the parents or newer writers, I hope you've heard Savvy and kept all those points in mind in your own journey as a writer. Savvy, like before we go on to a quick fun rapid fire, which is just to know you a little better. I just
Okay.
want you to tell the BTB audience a little, like, about why you think they should read The Nameless God.
Because it's fun. I guess beside just being a story, I guess there's a lot of fun elements in there.
Yes, there
What the
is.
feedback I've got is that kids do giggle while reading.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, I mean, don't read it for some moral message. Just read it, to relax and to just maybe know of a time wherein maybe your parents were children.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah, so read it just for fun.
I think that's the best
Yeah.
reason to read a book. That if it's like if it's fun, and yes, Savvy is absolutely right. There's a lot of humor in the book. It will definitely make you chuckle at so many points. So it's definitely fun. And let me just show a few more comments. So congratulations, Savvy. All the very best for your future ventures.
Thank you, Elroy.
And Sheena Gupta is also a writer. She's a wonderful blogger, and she says she's looking forward to read the book soon and also give it to her daughter.
Thank you, Sheena. I hope you enjoy it.
Right. And Shashank says it's a nice book. We like the content of the book.
Thank you, Shashank.
And
Thank
Ankit
you,
is
Ankit.
congratulating you. So a lot of people here to cheer you, Savvy. So
Thank
happy
you,
to see that.
Priyanka. Thank you, Urja.
Amazing. So yeah, thank you everybody who joined. I think we are having a very engaged, we have an engaged audience here. So lovely to know that. Okay, so Savvy, before we actually wrap up, we do this very quick, fun rapid fire of 5 questions with every featured author. The idea is
Okay.
just to know them a little better. About their personal life, because of course we've talked about your books and your writing. So are you ready?
Yeah, all set.
No, my questions are all very easy. I tell that to all the authors that I mean, they are not scandalous like the coffee with current rapid
Okay.
fire, so you can be like rest assured. All right.
Great.
Okay, so let's begin the 5 questions for the rapid fire with Savvy. So the first question is your preference: tea, coffee, or juice?
Juice.
Okay, healthy, the most great.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The next one is continental food or desi khana. What gets you most excited?
Actually, both. I'm a foodie. I can eat anything and everything.
I
But yeah, so I would say maybe desi khana any day.
Yeah, you're totally. So I relate to that because even I'm a foodie, and for me, like any food is like great. But yes, desi khana rocks for sure. Okay. The next question is that if you could interview one author, who would it be and why?
Okay, that's kind of
Anyone maybe who comes instantly to your mind. Someone
maybe
maybe you
Harper
looked up.
Lee.
Oh wow, that would be some conversation.
Yeah, but I really like the chai. I mean, the way she's brought out, things from a child's perspective
Right, right.
in To
Yes,
Kill a
yes.
Mockingbird.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay. One genre of writing which you feel would be difficult for you, but still you would like to explore it.
Well, okay. I would like to. I mean, somehow I feel that I should experiment all genres of writing,
Hmm.
but what would be difficult? Maybe horror.
Uh, I I
Yeah.
think a lot of writers have said that that genre is because I think when you're not used to writing in that genre, it does seem a little daunting at the
It does
beginning. But
sound, yeah,
but
difficult.
it would be fun to read a horror comedy from you. I just somehow feel you will do great with that, and the kids may enjoy it. So maybe who knows, like in the
Yes,
future.
yes, yes.
We can have a
Maybe
book
I
on
should try
ghost
it.
after God.
Yeah, I should try it.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm sure everybody will agree, whoever is watching.
Right, right, right.
Nice. Okay, so the last question is that where would you prefer to get stranded? in a library which has no connection with the outside world but has a lot of books, or in an island with a book and your phone, like your, like, you know, whatever device you use, or with friends in a room, like where you basically cannot get out. So which will be your best like choice for getting stranded?
Okay. All
Preferred
the three don't
scenario
seem
basically.
very bad. All the
Acha.
three don't seem like bad. Well, because library is a good thing. Okay, you have company of books, provided there's some food, and hopefully, and yeah, and with the island, you're giving a choice of a book and a phone, which is perfect, I guess.
So
I have
you're
a book
okay
to
to
keep
be
my.
alone in an island. Basically, that's the thing, that you're okay to be alone. Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, because you're giving me a phone. I hope I somewhere I can find, a way to get out after I'm done with my book. Perhaps done with reading the book and maybe writing another book on the island.
Okay, wonderful.
And yeah, and with friends in a room is also fine.
Yeah,
Friends give you strength.
yeah,
And
that's true.
plus, yeah, and plus I'm sure with just standard with them inside a room, I can get more stories from them, maybe. Maybe plan many more books.
Yes. So
Stranded
basically, all
amazing. Yeah.
three scenarios seem interesting.
All three are perfectly fine with me.
Okay, great, great. So that was lovely, Zavi, to know a little more about you. I think that gave us some insight into the person that you are. So thank you so much for taking our time today and joining us. I think this has truly been a wonderful conversation. And before leaving, I would again want to remind everybody who's watching that do go and check out Savi's book, The Nameless God. It's available everywhere. It's also available in, I think, a lot of bookstores, right, Savi?
It is. It is available in most bookstores.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thanks,
And
Anupama.
of course, it will also be reviewed, as I said, on Beyond the Box. And we'll also be sharing a wonderful writing tip from Savvy very soon. So thank you once again, Savvy. And I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Anupama. Thanks a lot for having me here on BTB. And my best wishes are all with everyone who's watching is this and all the members of BTB. I
Thank
hope I can see more writing from the children of BTB.
Yes, definitely,
Thank
definitely. Thank you, and thank you, audience. You all are really lovely. In these times of virtual events, this kind of audience engagement just gives us a better feel of an actual event in some way. At least you feel that yes, people are interacting while watching. So yes, thank you, and bye everyone. I'll see you all very soon with another live on Beyond the Box.
Thank you and bye bye.
Bye.